This move by the Biden administration to publicly scrutinize and potentially distrust elements within the military was a troubling step. It reflects the administration's open skepticism of the military that is sure to have disastrous impact of such actions on the morale and perception of the military, a crucial institution in American society.
Welcome to TFIGlobal, the antidote to mass delusion.
For centuries, the history of governance has been marked by shifts in power, often through military interventions. Rome, once a proud republic, experienced this firsthand. It balanced elements of monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy, with the Senate playing a critical role. However, figures like Marius and Sulla disrupted this balance, foreshadowing the eventual rise of the Caesars and the end of the Roman Republic. This pattern of military overthrows wasn't unique to Rome. In Greece, similar events unfolded multiple times. Modern history also offers examples. England witnessed the rise of Oliver Cromwell. France saw the ascent of Napoleon Bonaparte. Iraq experienced the reign of Saddam Hussein. And Pakistan endured long periods under military rule from 1958 to 1971, 1977 to 1988, and 1999 to 2008. Africa, too, is often highlighted for its frequent military coups. In this context, the United States stands out as an exception. A term often associated with the U.S. is American exceptionalism, and one of its most striking manifestations is the absence of any military coup d'etat in its history. This is noteworthy given the frequent occurrence of such events in other nations. Interestingly, the U.S. has seen numerous military generals rise to the presidency, starting with George Washington. 12 U.S. generals have assumed the highest office in the land, yet they have transitioned to their presidential roles without imposing a military style of command and control. This demonstrates a unique blend of military leadership and democratic governance. The ability of American military leaders to transition from war to peace without carrying over a military mindset is significant. It reflects a deeper understanding and respect for the principles of democracy and civilian governance. In the United States, it is often the weakest presidents who express fear of a coup d'etat. Such a fear is rarely, if ever, publicly acknowledged. However, President Joe Biden is unique, for he is the first one to have made such an admission, indicating a perceived vulnerability in this aspect of governance. In the aftermath of the 2020 election, allegedly won by Joe Biden, the United States witnessed a series of significant and contentious events. The victory was marred by allegations of an attempted government overthrow by groups identified as white supremacists who were perceived to be supporters of Donald Trump. This culminated in the notorious storming of the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, an event that shocked the nation and had far-reaching implications for American politics and society. As Biden assumed office, he prioritized addressing the issue of white supremacy, which he described as a major threat to the United States. Biden's administration labeled white supremacy as the most dangerous form of terrorism, focusing less on Islamic and other forms of terrorism, which have a proven history of impacting the country. This stance was particularly notable given the composition of the U.S. military. White Americans form a significant portion of the military's ranks and almost entirely its top leadership. The emphasis on white supremacy as a primary threat potentially created a complex dynamic within the military establishment. Since taking office, President Biden has reportedly been uneasy, especially concerning the potential for extremism within the military. To address these concerns, he urged the Pentagon to release data on extremism, specifically focusing on what was termed as white extremism, to U.S. lawmakers. This initiative began in 2021 and was seen as an effort to quantify and understand the extent of this issue within the military ranks. This move by the Biden administration to publicly scrutinize and potentially distrust elements within the military was a troubling step. It reflects the administration's open skepticism of the military that is sure to have disastrous impact of such actions on the morale and perception of the military, a crucial institution in American society. As the United States approaches another election cycle, this goddamned report has resurfaced, casting a shadow over the country's armed forces. According to the most recent Pentagon report, extremism within the military ranks continues to be a pressing concern. Remember, every time I say extremism or terrorism, I mean the Biden administration invented white supremacy. The annual Pentagon report reveals that 78 service members are suspected of advocating for the overthrow of their own government. Furthermore, the report discloses that 44 service members were suspected of supporting or engaging in terrorism over the past year. The total number of 183 allegations of extremism across all branches of America's military represents a 25% increase from the previous year. According to the report, the U.S. Army recorded the highest number of alleged cases among all military branches, with 130 soldiers implicated. In comparison, the Air Force faced 29 cases, while the Navy and Marine Corps each had 10 cases. The United States Department of Defense, under the leadership of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, has intensified its efforts to address the issue of extremism within the military. Secretary Austin's directive was not limited to mere advisories. He spearheaded the implementation of stronger screening processes in the military's recruiting phase. So let me sum it all up. 78 service members hate Joe Biden. 44 service members weren't embarrassed of being white. There were a total of 183 cases white men simply asserting themselves. And Austin has intensified his efforts to address the issue of white men being white men within the military. Secretary Austin spearheaded the implementation of stronger screening processes in the military's recruiting phase. That is another way of saying implementation of stronger screening processes in the military's recruiting phase to prevent proud white men from joining the nation's military. These developments underscore the Biden administration's fear of American patriots. The implementation of new rules, enhanced screening processes, and the formation of an investigative unit are steps towards maintaining the charade of a happy and united U.S. military. An army that never attempted to grab power is now being watched with skeptical eyes. A famed military such as the United States is being asked to give a certificate of their loyalty. Bowing and saying, "Thank you for your service," seems to be an alien concept in Biden's America. But remember, fire cannot be contained in fists. It burns.